Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהכל נהיה בדברו. The Jewish people received the Torah after they left Egypt. Actually, there were three stages that were very important. Number one, freedom from slavery. Number two, to receive the law in Mount Sinai. And number three, to come to the promised land, because there is where they would be able to fulfill what the Torah tells them to do. Because there are some mitzvot, some obligations that are only valid in the land of Israel, the promised land. The question is, really, why weren't our ancestors given the Torah in Egypt itself? While they were there, maybe the last thing Moses should have done is receive the Torah from God and tell the Jewish people, you are going into freedom. This is the Torah. These are the laws by which you have to govern every one of your actions. Or maybe yet differently, when they arrived in the promised land, maybe the event, the most important event, should have been the giving of the Torah, given to the Jewish people in the land that they're going to reside in. Why was it in Mount Sinai? Maybe there's a very important lesson, which is the following. It was given in the desert. To whom does the desert belong? Nowadays, we have sort of given the Sahara belongs to this country, Sinai belongs to this country. But in olden times, the desert didn't belong to anybody because people couldn't live in the desert. The desert was a very difficult place to make a living. You know, it was impossible to live there. You thank God if you were able to cross it and come out alive of it. It belonged to nobody. The idea was maybe that the Torah is everybody's and nobody's. It belongs to all of humanity. It was given to the Jewish people as the vehicle to transmit it to the rest of humanity. But Torah is something that the entire world needs in order to survive, in order to live in society. Our rabbis taught the following. Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel Amar, that the whole world is established on three principles. What are they? Din, shalom, emet, and shalom. Law, truth, and peace. Now, these are principles that are valid for everybody. You don't have to be Jewish. You know, there are certain laws in the Torah that are ritual, that you wouldn't have known had the Torah not told you to do them. But there are many principles in the Torah that everybody understands. The Torah says, thou shalt not kill. I think we understand that because if you kill, somebody else will kill you. It is impossible to live in a society where you take away life, especially when you consider that every human being was born with the image of God in him. He has a little bit of divinity in him. So by killing a human being, in a sense, you are killing a little piece of God. It's terrible what I'm saying. These are actually universal laws that without them, you cannot function. You can see that in the life of Moses, that it wasn't just for the Jewish people. The Torah tells us that Moses grew up in the palace of Pharaoh. But he went out one day, when he was already a little bigger, to see how his brethren, the Hebrews, were doing. Did he know that they were enslaved? Maybe yes, maybe no. But he saw something terrible. He saw how an Egyptian was hitting another Jew, was about to kill him. Then it says, Vayifen kovacho. He looked everywhere. Vayar ki ein ish. And he saw there was no man. So he went, Vayachet HaMitzri. He prevented the Egyptian, he killed the Egyptian, prevented him from killing the Jew. In other words, he defended the Jew. It was part of his family. He knew that that is his obligation. Our rabbis say, what is this Ish Mitzri and Ish Ivri? A Hebrew man and an Egyptian man. Man, the word Ish, is actually a very important word. It means like a gentleman. Vayar ki ein ish. Say our rabbis, he looked and he saw that neither the Hebrew nor the Egyptian was really a gentleman. They were just fighting. but it was a terrible fight. One was going to kill the other. So in order to prevent the killing of a human being, he killed the other one. No one has the right to take somebody else's life. The Torah says that the following day, he saw how two Hebrews were fighting among themselves. So he tried to intervene among them. So they said, "Who made you a judge that you are going to tell us what to do?" And he realized that what he did yesterday, because they said, "You're going to do the same to us that you did to the Egyptian yesterday," he realized that this was no secret, and eventually he's going to be persecuted because of it, and he left Egypt. This time he intervened between two Jews. The Torah says that he went to a land of Midian, and he saw how some shepherds were not permitting young ladies to get water from a well. He went and intervened there too. They were Gentiles. In other words, Moses acted to begin with. When he saw a Gentile and a Jew, he thought he had to intervene. When there were two Jews, he also had to intervene. But when there are two Gentiles, he also had to intervene. You can very well say, what is it your business? Because the Torah is actually a universal code of morals and ethics. It has many particular things, don't eat meat and milk together. That is very particular for the Jewish people. But not to steal. That is certainly for everybody. Or it says, don't sleep with the wages of your day laborer. If somebody works for you per day, every day you pay him, don't let the money, his remuneration, stay with you at night. He finished his work, pay him. He needs it. Obviously, because if he works for a daily wage, he doesn't have any reserves, so don't make him suffer. Love your neighbor as yourself. Is that for Jews only? That is for everybody. So maybe this is the reason why the Torah was given in no man's land, to show that it isn't Egyptian, it isn't Jewish, it isn't British, it is a universal law. And if you want to live in society, you have to live by these things, because the world is established on three principles: on law, on justice, and on peace. And if we abide by these three principles, humanity will have a very long history in the future as well.